We're live.
We're live. How do you feel?
Good. I'm excited. This is the first time I've done something like this before. A live signing.
Same.
Through technology.
I feel excited. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am. Is that the camera I'm looking at? The front.
Yeah.
The top one. The top one. There's lots of cameras. I'm Kate Hudson. This is the live book signing for my new book, Pretty Fun. And this is Joanna from Delish.com, who's going to be, asking me some questions.
Keeping it cash. Casual friends, as Kate just pointed out, casual friends just surrounded by my face. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Which doesn't make me necessarily totally comfortable, but you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna own my face.
You know what? If I'm going to be surrounded by anybody's face, I want it to be Kate's face. So I feel really good about this. I feel really comfortable here.
I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah. So thank you for joining.
Yes.
I'm excited. And tell me, okay, I want to start with this book because I actually spent a lot of time with it today. How did it come about? And you seem to put so much passion into your projects. I want to hear about sort of how this came to be.
I think for when I started thinking about the next book or the books that I was going to do to follow Pretty Happy, obviously I think about what I get asked a lot. Like, what are the questions that seem to be the repetitive questions that people ask that turn into sound bites that I'm not necessarily always comfortable just giving sound bites for, that I should probably at some point, elaborate.
Right.
And for me, the whole concept of wellness, the trend of wellness, the thing that's what everybody's looking at, like self-care. Yep. How do you become a more optimistic person, or where do you find happiness, and all these questions. How do you find balance, all that stuff. And I find that those are the kinds of questions that I get a lot. So for me, this became kind of a fun, no pun intended, but extension of how I see my own wellness. Because for me, I actually find a lot of I find when I gather with the people I love the most to be one of the great de-stressors for me. And the idea of throwing a party or having a party or celebrating each other, sometimes I think we forget that it's actually a really important part of our lives and our well-being. And for me, this book isn't about the big party. It's really about creating traditions. Yep. And when I think about my children and the things that I want to leave them, the things that my parents sort of passed on to me and that I will be left with, are those traditions that happen inside of our home. So this is really what the book's about. And the truth is that there is a lot of science behind when we are able to gather and spend time with people we love the most. It's actually that safety, that sense of safety and security is really good for our well-being. So that's kind of why I wanted this to be the next one. And I do, and then and then the silly part is I love a party. So.
Yeah. Well, I would say that what really stood out to me, and then you sort of touched upon it, is so many books in the universe are about Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthday, but it's you're really celebrating sort of the non-moments of life, and that's what's really, you're sort of making the special sort of more everyday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's obviously the fun, really traditional holidays and everything, and they're really big in our house, but the parties that I love the most, or the times that I've loved the most, are those impromptu times, and I've had the gift of being able to live all over the world, right? So I haven't just lived in Los Angeles. I've lived mostly in New York and Los Angeles in my life, but I've lived in London, and I've done movies all over the world, and it's the same thing everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's those nights when you're home and you're cooking, and what turned into two people ends up being 10 to 15. Right. And you end up having just this amazing small little party that was an impromptu party. And those are the moments that I really remember. And so I think sometimes people do need a little bit of guidance as to, well, how do I make that happen? Yep. And how do I make it happen so that I'm not stressed out and that it's actually fun for people? And I did this signing the other day, and this one girl asked me, I find it really challenging when I want a party to be a certain way, and then I invite people over and it's not anything that I wanted. And I was like,
Total wrong approach. Wrong approach.
Maybe I've all of a sudden I felt like I was talking to my son, saying maybe you should do what your friends want to do. You know what I mean? Maybe you should like move with the vibe of your friends. But this kind of does give that, you know, a little bit of, you know, my house has become the center of a lot of gatherings. It's just, I have an open door policy. Anyone's always invited. I mean, you know, not always, but most of the time it's like, you know, I'm like, come over.
Right,
you know,
right.
Eat anything in my house. You know, if something gets broken, it's fine. And what I think that is it's the energy that you put out when you're, you know, when you're sort of creating that environment.
But there's method to the madness, I think, is what the point you're making too, is that like, you know, just like when you're like, I want a natural looking face, but then it's like actually like it takes a lot of time
Contour
and like effort and
highlighter.
like to put in to make it look natural. It's like as easy as much as you want to be like, just like casually throw a party. There has to be some order a little bit. And what you help with here is like helping people get to those sort of impromptu, entertaining moments.
And that's something that's been like trial and error for me in my life period. I'm a total Aries, so I'm super spontaneous. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, I start a project, I don't finish it, I'm on to the next, you know. So I've had to become more structured in my life.
Yep.
You know, it's what I got to a point where there were so many things going on in my life that I realized that I was starting to get a little wacky, you know, and that structure was something that helped me actually enjoy being spontaneous. So I've kind of figured out how to create the structure and then kind of let it go, you know. And the same thing goes with you know, if you're going to have a party or if you're going to have people over, or if you're going to want to be someone who wants to put something together, you know, last minute, there are just some simple things that you can do to just make it less stressful, easier.
We're gonna sign some books.
Should I be signing?
I think
That's
you
what I was
should
thinking.
be
I was like, I should be
signing.
signing
I know
some
that
books.
we're allowed to talk a little bit, but I did pull out so many amazing things in this book, and I won't drill into every single one, but I kind of want to know a little bit more off the cuff, like, what is your fantasy night? Like, what is the kind of entertainment? Like, what's your, I know, it's like, but, you know, fantasy.
Is this an after dark?
Yeah, exactly. After the lights go out, what's your fantasy? That'll get picked up for sure. No, but, you know, like, when you think of your dream night of just, like, hanging out, like, what are you serving? What are you doing? Like, who's there? Like, I want to know. I want to peek inside.
It really depends. I mean, I actually have a pop-up party for one in here. There are some nights that all I want is that pop-up party for one. I'm like, everyone leave me alone.
Yeah.
I just want to watch like brainless television and eat frozen yogurt and
Totally.
Get weird and stare at my Instagram and not talk to anyone. And by the way, that's a great party.
Yeah.
And it's a great de-stressing party.
Totally.
That pop-up party for one. But I think my favorite nights are when I do, actually funny enough, because I don't do them enough, are with my friends, sit down dinners.
Do you cook? Do you try to bring some like
I'll
real
cook,
food to the table?
I'll cook, or I like the tastings, and I don't do those enough, which are so much fun.
So fun.
They're so fun because it gives you something to actually talk about. And I'm such a foodie, and I love wine. So to me, anything that has to do with wine pairing, it's
so nice.
And it's so fun. And, you know, it's one of those things that honey, something that's really fun to do, a little tasting.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are fun because you only have like anywhere from 8 to 15 people, your friends, and it's just casual.
Well, but also what's nice about that is like giving the night sort of a purpose a little bit, and direction, I think, is something that, you know, it's just like, it's almost like icebreakers, not that you need it with your friends, but like everybody having something to do and sort of have something to talk about is actually really nice.
Yeah, you know, something my mom and I talk about a lot because it's something that I think is why people want to know, like, why is your family so close, and how did you guys just seem like you have the best time together, and all of that's true. We're crazy close and we have the best time together, but I think that part of that has to do with the kinds of how much we love to connect, and something now that is missing to all, I think all of, we can talk about food all we want, and it's an important piece of the puzzle. We can talk about, fitness, and that's also an important piece of it. But connection is everything. Without that, we're lost.
Yeah.
We really are. So in a world that's uncertain, with horrible things happening, where you feel fear, when, with the political climate, there's just so much happening that's coming at us all the time through so many different channels, right? Connection is a place where we can get real support, where we can actually remind ourselves of what it is, that human connection is just everything. And so, I'm lucky enough to have that in my immediate family. And there's a lot of people who didn't have that kind of closeness growing up. And for me, if there's anything that I would want to share with people, it's how that it doesn't have to be your immediate family to create your family, or to have that connection. There's ways to break the cycle, to, change the pattern and create your own patchwork family,
Totally. Well, especially in a day and age when so much of how we communicate is through a screen, I think it's not that there's anything wrong with that. We love communicating.
It's actually an amazing connection tool.
Incredible gift.
It's also obviously brings so many things to the forefront, what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's so readily available to us. We have so much more knowledge of things that unfortunately have been happening for a long, long time, but now everyone sees them,
Yes, totally.
But they also see all the affirmations and the positivity and people who really want to make a difference.
Yeah. Do you see this entertaining, sort of bug that you have rubbing off on your sons? Do you see them, loving to have people over?
Well, definitely Ryder.
Right.
Ryder, Ryder as 13, almost 14, and he is for sure... loves a party.
Yeah.
But Ryder's very talkative, and he can connect with anyone.
Right.
I'll sit and he'll, we'll be having some people over, and he'll be talking to an adult in a full-on adult conversation. He's just got that kind of... He's always kind of been like that.
Yeah,
He's always been a little bit more sophisticated than his age in terms of his way of communicating. Bing, on the other hand, he might be a little different. We'll see. He might be a little more introverted.
He's still young. He's got a little bit going on.
Yeah, but it's okay. I like introverted guys.
No,
too.
I mean, listen, you need a reason to draw people out.
Well, that's one of the things I was saying about this book. This isn't for just the extrovert. You think we live in such an extroverted time. Where it's like even in schools, it's like.
Out.
Yeah, it's like you must work in groups. It's like why don't you let the child who wants to work with his own imagination, sometimes with his own and on his own, right? Because I think supporting introversion is they're the great thinkers, they're the great inventors.
Yeah.
But this isn't. This doesn't exclude that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exclude the people who like to connect but are. Like things that are more intimate.
I mean, I don't know who wouldn't benefit from a pop-up party of one, to be honest with you.
I like what just came up on your...
I'm like, wait, title just came up.
I
was
like
about
a
to start playing
Beyonce
music.
song.
Well, they told me I can't find what I'm supposed to put here, which was...
It's okay, we can put on
there
the Beyonce
it is.
song.
Because you know what I was going to do is read some audience questions, because some people submitted some stuff.
Okay.
Let's see. What's your favorite place to be and why? I think I'm going to know this answer, but we'll see. What's your favorite place to be?
But that's kind of a vague question.
I know. So you know what? Let's ask
like a place in the world.
Well, why don't you answer both? Let's see, your favorite place that's could be anything. Right.
I'm a total homebody.
That's what I would figure.
I'm so happy at home.
Yeah. Do you get to spend a lot of time there? Have you been trying to?
Yeah, I do. Good. I do. I make sure of it.
That's great.
I feel lucky that I can make sure that I'm, I can work and be quite present.
That's
but
but in the world, then let's take it
Greece.
outside that. Oh, Greece. I mean,
I love it there so much.
What is it? What is it about
I go
Greece?
there every summer. It's just laid back. The water is amazing. I love the food. I love the people. And I go to a very, I like going to the more laid back, not the sort of party islands. I usually go to more laid back areas in Greece, and I really, really love the water there. I think that's really what.
It's so nice.
Yeah, it's nice and salty and clear and oh, I
But
could
the
swim in the
atmosphere
ocean
also seems like very much what you're describing in the book. It just feels like everybody is like sort of gathered together around like delicious
family
food and
oriented
fun times.
and oh yeah, I mean that
Community.
is that's, I mean, to me, those are my favorite. Again, you know, because my parents also they go for quite a long time. They go almost for 2 months, and that's what we do. We eat together, we sit on the beach together, we talk together, we play music together. It's just the best.
Oh gosh, we need to go. Let's go right now.
Let's
right
go.
now, we're going.
I wish we could just get beamed to Greece.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple more. Someone asks, what's a typical day like for Kate Hudson? I like that one
I
too.
get asked this question so much.
I know.
It's funny. It's probably like very, you know, well, it just depends. I mean, you know, not every day are you going to like an award show.
Right. When you've got 2 kids.
I've got
so
2
that's
kids. So
driving
you
the
do
boat.
school drop off. You
Right.
do, you know, I cook breakfast. It's usually pancakes. I try to get them off the pancakes.
Nice.
Although they do make these new paleo pancakes.
Yes.
So do you have that? Do you know those?
I do know that. Well, I know a couple of versions of them.
Yeah,
but
they're real coconut based,
Yep.
obviously with almond flour.
Yep.
I like them. The kids are sort of
Getting used to it.
It takes a second.
Yeah, I think you have to try I would say 4 times. Give 4 times, and then maybe get into it.
Right.
But you
Or
make
put, like,
pancakes
chocolate in
from
them.
scratch.
I do.
For breakfast.
I do. My favorite thing to
Amazing.
make is there's this restaurant in Australia called Bill's, and he does these ricotta pancakes. They take a second, but if you're gonna do
Worth
like a
it.
special, it's one of the great recipes.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make
with
this
like a
this weekend.
pecan brown sugar butter that is
on.
just out of this world.
So good. So you make pancakes, and then you manage to get your children to school.
Yeah, I've
at
got
that point.
2 different schools, so
Oy.
it's a switch off, you know.
Yep, totally.
And then I work in the day, and then I try to do pickup, you know. Then you've got sports. It's pretty. That is most of my life.
Yeah.
And then if I'm working, you know, that's also super simple. It's
Right.
like 5 a.m. call, go to set, and you're there till. Hopefully you get off early, but you know, anywhere from 8 to 15 hours.
So do you find time though to really entertain and have people over though, even in your busiest moments?
Yeah.
I think that I could tell from the book also that you really try to make this a priority as well.
I've literally gotten off an airplane and had a game night.
No,
yeah,
come
but I
on.
love it. I love it though, because that charges me. For some
Yeah.
people,
They just want to shut
They
down.
just want to shut down, and you know, and I get that.
Yep.
But I actually get charged by connecting with my friends, and I do work a lot, so I need to make those times for my friends too.
Yeah.
It's so important. You know, I could very easily go, oh, I'm just gonna put on Fixer Upper and like, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm there. My
Aren't you
husband's
so-
like, please, no more, please.
Aren't you so sad that
Yeah.
there's no longer
I'm sad.
one more?
I know. But then I'm just like, I'll just buy all the seasons. It's no big deal. I'll just buy
I've
them all.
seen all of them.
I know.
I've seen them.
But it doesn't even stop me from watching the episodes. I'll
No,
watch
they're
it
so
again.
great.
And then I'm
They're
just
so
like, I already
fun.
saw this part. I already saw this house. They leave the brick. They leave the brick fireplace up in the middle of the room.
I know. Yes.
You know that
yes,
one?
I know that one.
And
I
like,
love that.
I love that. I'm like, I know how this one ends. Yeah, but he's gonna surprise her.
I like the
and then it's
barn.
gonna-
Remember
the
the
converted barn.
That was
Forget
a good
it. Where the
one.
galley dining room
Yeah.
down the center.
Although that's a little weird.
a little weird. I don't want to walk into
I don't
want to
walk into a dining room.
No.
But she wanted the
totally.
dining room.
Yeah.
So this was my thought process. Like
Yeah.
she wanted the dining room, which I
Yep.
totally understand.
Yep.
She wanted that big
Yep.
dining room, which I get. But this
Totally.
is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
She
you
liked
need that.
She wanted that kind of thing.
Completely.
But then you're like, think about what that would be like if you walked in. It was just a giant hall like that, you know, like a
Yes.
big entrance.
Well, imagine having people over, right, and them seeing that. Basically, it's like walking into an event space.
Yeah.
You know, was that the one where the kitchen was upstairs, or was that a different
Yes.
one? That was that
Yes.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're really talking. We're really.
Is anyone else
Is anyone
feeling us
catching
out
this?
there?
Did these people get it?
I have a feeling.
Yeah,
we have
yeah. No,
people
Delish definitely gets it. We know. We're big
are
Fixer Upper
saying
fans.
like, yeah, that was the kitchen upstairs, and it was the one that had like a ton of acreage.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? Also, but not for nothing. nothing, not to equate Kate Hudson to Joanna Gaines, but family, obviously, you get that. You definitely feel from her as well.
Yes.
And I think that there is a
that.
moment right now that we really do need to be surrounded by
Yes.
loved ones of all sorts, friends, family. I think that there is that connection importance.
Well, I don't mean to get like crazy. I just read this great book called Sapiens. Have you read
I have
Sapiens?
not, no.
It's great. I mean, it's a little dense, but you learn a lot. And one of the things I loved about it, and it just made so much sense to me, learning about how we became the species to survive after there were so many species of humans. You know, we became the one that survived because we communicate, because of the way we communicate, because of the way that we gather, because of the way that we gossip, and are able to commune.
Yep.
And that was why we survived, not because we were necessarily the strongest.
Right.
We had a cognitive ability to share and to create community, and that kind of intimacy that made us stronger.
Amazing.
And we forget that we do need community. You know, and then when you start getting into it, you know, it says like once you get past a community of 130 people, you start to need some hierarchies to create more order, right? When you start thinking about how, you know, things, you know, we won't get into that. This is a whole other subject. But
it's okay.
But just the basics that we are as a species that needs to be a tribe.
Yep.
To survive is something that our brain feeds on, understands, and it brings us security and safety. So, I mean, you know, if you look at the science behind it, it makes total sense. You know, I sometimes think if you kind of morphed, you know, a family around a table, eating, laughing, talking, actually communicating, you know, if you just saw it from a distance, sharing, passing food, you know, a brother taking care of their sister or something, and then you just sort of like morphed it back to us in, you know, caves or teepees or wherever we are, where we're creating yurts, however we're creating that home, eating, how we, you know, it would be the same thing. Different circumstance, same need.
Well, you can also imagine sort of that being a communication tactic too. I mean, not to get, I won't go off the deep end here, but the idea that like sort of that sharing is sort of a greater language, right? Like the idea of gathering people who don't speak the same language, who might not come from the same time, that sort of movement and sort of togetherness is something that everybody sort of understands.
Well, it's funny. Something I was talking about the other day about this too. One of my favorite things to watch when I'm having a party is someone, you know, if you create the right atmosphere where people can really like let their hair down and just kind of feel like, oh, this is a great, I can be myself. I can just hang out and not. It's so funny when you see certain people that you would never expect to be communicating or talking or getting to know someone else that you know. I've seen that so many times where like two people who would never necessarily connect, you sort of bring them together in an environment and there they are kind of having that experience. You know, people underestimate the importance of what that does for people.
Totally. I mean, also not for nothing. I mean, we always say like delish too, food being the great equalizer, right? You know, it's that everybody, you know, in this world we can't agree on a lot of things, but
well, that's why I'm really also involved in a lot of programs that are about, you know, feeding.
Yeah.
You know, that's a passion of mine.
Totally.
You know, it's like I do the World Food Program.
Amazing.
But food is an essential, right?
Of course.
It's like the foundation of how we survive. It's our fuel. It's everything. So of course that's where we
start,
where we gather.
Yep, absolutely. But fitness too for you is really important too. Tell me about sort of, you know, what your normal week is and sort of what drives you there and like your passions in the fitness universe. Like what are you into right now from a fitness perspective?
I'd be into anything if I could just get there. like these last couple days and weeks, it's been really hard.
Really?
I mean, I was just saying with my best girlfriend, Sophie, we were talking about like, what were we supposed to wake up at like 3 a.m?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's just been so hard.
Wow.
because you're busy, and that's okay. As
Yep.
long, I really like spinning when you need to like get your like blood circulating and your energy up, because you can do anywhere. I'm a huge fan of Peloton. I don't know if you know Peloton.
I do. I absolutely do.
Obsessed. I love them.
It's interesting because I was going to say spinning, definitely traditional spinning, community, sort of back to what you were saying about the vibe of the room, right? And everybody sort of feeding off each other. But Peloton, more of like a pop-up party for one.
It's a pop-up party for one. It's a no excuse workout.
Definitely.
It's there in your house.
One-on-one. It's a one-on-one sort of.
You're alone. You're alone, and you're alone. Well, you can also go and take the Peloton classes.
Right, of course.
They're basically live, they're live, or you can do, recorded ones, pre-recorded.
Right. But no excuses.
No,
is
and you
true.
can do like a 15-minute, 20-minute ride. So you kind of go, okay, there's really no. If I have 20 minutes, I should probably get on the bike. So that's nice. So I like that for like the quick.
Yeah.
And then anything dance.
Nice.
Oriented is.
I love that. I can imagine that that's restorative for you.
Yeah, which means Pilates is kind of my. We'll just keep going.
Keep going.
And then boxing, and then jiu-jitsu.
No, I mean, listen, I feel like you inspire me right now. I'm going to go take a spin class right after this.
Really? Oh, good.
I'm going to go buy a Peloton right now.
A 9:30 p.m. spin class?
I am going to ask a couple more questions here because I feel so bad. People have really asked a lot here, but I want to make sure.
I was doing a
I love this one.
Facebook Live the other day. It was the first time I'd done one.
Oh,
and
intense.
It was really fun, but
Yeah.
I had the same thing where I was going through, and it's kind of hard to.
Well, because a lot of people ask the same questions. I mean, we just heard you answer how you spend a typical day. So, this is an interesting one though. Let's go to it. If you could repeat one moment in your life again, either to relive it or change it, which moment would it be? I feel like that should have been. We should have asked her that earlier.
This is
she could.
First
prep.
of all, the thing that comes to mind, I'll never share.
Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna
That
keep
means
it
the
to
answer is
myself.
real.
But let's see. One thing that I would go back and change, or do again.
You're thinking about it. I'm going to remind
Okay.
people that you can get these signed copies. She's signing books. You can get them at prettyfunbook.com. And they are signed. I'm watching her sign them. It's pretty amazing. She's still thinking about this.
It would definitely be about people who are now gone. Like the time spent with my grandma or my godmother who passed away.
of
Like,
course.
I'd love to go back and be able to just spend a little bit more time with my godmother.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And my Aunt Barb. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Those to me are the things that you just want to hit rewind all the time for the people you miss.
yeah, totally.
What was that?
I'm going to ask you another one. And I actually feel like maybe this kind of leads back to the book too, but how do you overcome like self-doubt and negativity is what somebody's asking. How do you overcome those days when you're just feeling down about yourself? I mean, I feel like it's probably throwing a party, having your good friends around, but I'll let you answer that.
No, because those, to me, those aren't the time. Like,
You don't wanna
I'm
be-
the kind of person that when I kind of need to be with myself and I'm going through something, my friends are always like, get out, like, come out. And I'm like, no, I really believe that when you're going through something, you need to really go through it.
Interesting.
Like, I just go there.
Envelop
I try to
yourself in it.
figure it out. I try to understand my feelings. I don't try to do anything to distract myself from them. I don't try to, deflect from what's really happening, because then I'll actually understand it better. I always
great.
feel like, but one of the what was the question?
Well, she was
It
like, how do you overcome
how do I
it?
overcome
How
it?
do you get out of it? How do you come out the other side?
That's it. I go to the depth of what it is. Like, I'll go into, why am I feeling this way? Where is it coming from? What in my past is informing this?
Yeah.
Anything that we have that's self-doubt, confidence, insecurities, it's always comes usually from very, very early on as children, things that were been programmed in old brains that were just like, you know, and the more we understand it, I really think the more we're able to pinpoint it when it's happening, because we all have, you know, if you don't have insecurities, or if you don't show, if you know someone who literally like, wow, they just don't, I mean, they're usually probably either like a heavy narcissist or, you know, it's such a normal thing to be, to have those down moments. And anger is something that when that arises, I realize I know now that usually comes from a place of sadness, right? And so whenever something's upsetting to me or whatever, you sort of have to, I just try to not be as reactive, right? To slow it all down. And then the other thing I do is hear my brother and my dad telling me, you know, that there's 7 billion people in the world that just don't give a shit. So when that's the case, you're just like, wait, oh yeah.
Hold on
a second. Let's go 32,000 feet up here and look down, and you realize, like, what? Come on.
Totally.
Come on.
That's probably the smart answer.
You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, well, no, it's important to understand yourself. But
well, I think also, I mean, what you're saying too, I think we're getting too deep here because I want to come back to some lighter stuff. But I like the deep too. I do too.
So much fun.
But I feel like we are as a sort of a human race not comfortable spending enough time with ourselves. I would say we are like, I think
it's scary.
It is. I mean, and I know that like the book is about bringing people together, and I think it's important. But so much of what you talk about here is like self-reflective, and I do feel like people are. It's sometimes it's afraid to hear your own voice.
There's a reason why they say, and all the things, it all starts with you.
Yeah.
Like you cannot have the relationships with people you want, or even like connect really with the people you want, unless you're really doing that kind of reflecting on your own stuff.
Work.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, I think that in this, you know, and we're seeing what it is firsthand when you know, people who don't reflect or don't take time to think about, you know, how their actions might affect other people, or all of those things are, you know,
or how they don't affect other people too. Sometimes you need to think, as you said, you know, look at some things with perspective.
So in the book I have this full moon party.
Yes, moon bathing. It's
moon bathing,
amazing.
Yeah. And I think that those, to bring it back to like what you're saying about, you know, a party doesn't have to be what people think a party is. And so reflection as a party.
Moon bathing is, because I haven't been lucky enough to get
there's different
a
kinds.
few.
There's different kinds of moon bathing, but basically it's you know, a full moon gathering. And it depends on what the moon is. It depends on where the moon's falling. And if you're into astrology, and if you're into moon energy and sun energy, which are all kinds of energy, which I am very much into, moon bathing is very feminine. So it's as female as it gets. It's important for women as it is for men, actually. Men benefit greatly from moon energy. But it's something that what I like bringing people into that circle that are so not that kind of person.
Right.
Because what ends up happening is you have to commit to it, and people who are kind of not, you know, they commit to it and they get something out of it. And a lot of times those are the types of parties when I do like a birthday where I do a meditation with all my best girlfriends, and those are the gatherings where it's emotional, where you're connecting at a deeper place. You're having to go into things that are your challenges in that time, and like that's an amazing way to gather.
Describe what this is. So just give us a little bit of context too, of just like when you have your friends over for like some sort of moon bathing party. So what do you do? So you go out onto the lawn. Tell me, break this down for me.
Well, it depends. I mean, I have one in here, but you go out onto the lawn, and for me, I bring out a bunch of different crystals.
Right. Amazing. I'm listening. I'm into it.
You get cozy. There are these crystal bowls. They're like singing bowls. They're sort of create this incredible. It's like there's this thing called sound baths, that you can do as well.
Yeah.
And actually, if you've ever, you should go do a sound bath. If anybody is into like this kind of thing, that's amazing because it just the vibration and energy is like out of this world. But for the moon, anything, you create a mantra. You can create your own mantra. You talk about what the intention is of the full moon for that cycle, and you basically, sit around and meditate and take in the moon bath.
That's awesome. I feel like you're going to start a new trend of moon bathing.
Oh, it's trending. It's already trending. It's just...
All right, so now tell me, we're in Thanksgiving time.
Yes.
What does Thanksgiving look like at the Hudson households?
At the Hudson,
the Hudson,
Russell,
the whole
Robinson, Bellamy,
your whole gigantic clan. Like, what's your perfect Thanksgiving? And I'm assuming you make time for Thanksgiving. Like, you don't work.
That's
on
a big
Thanksgiving.
holiday. I think I love Christmas so much, but I think Thanksgiving's my favorite.
Why is that?
Well, the food, one, but because it is like the ultimate celebration of gratitude,
right.
and that's really what it's become in our family. Every year we always go around and say something about...
Who hosts? Do you host?
I usually do.
Amazing.
I usually do. And I actually bought back the house I grew up in, which is crazy.
So great.
Yeah. And so we've had Thanksgivings in that house since we were babies. So around that table, we've had so much history with people who've come and passed, and it's become very emotional. It's an emotional time and fun and a blast, and of course there's football,
right.
And we love football. And, but every year I do a lot of the baking. I do all of the baking. So I do the pies.
Mm-hmm. Pies. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite pie?
Well, my favorite is banana cream, but my favorite that is my Thanksgiving more themed pie I put in here.
Yeah.
And it's a pecan apple caramel crumble pie. It's
nice.
So good. Yeah, I actually remember the first time I saw it was a similar kind of recipe, and I kind of changed it around a little bit. And I remember one year I decided to make my own caramel instead of do store-bought caramel.
It made a huge difference, yeah. No?
It was such a huge mistake. Well, I'd never made caramel before. Now I know how to do it, right? So it was like one of the years where, and it was just like a brick.
Hard crack stage.
Oh, no.
You pushed it too far.
Maybe I should have.
You're into candy making.
Yeah.
Giant Werther's.
Oh,
big Werther's original you made, basically.
Werther's are my favorite. My grandma loved Werther's so much that she had them all over her apartment, and she'd have like 20 of them in her purse. She never went anywhere without Werther's.
Why are they so good?
Because they're like caramelly butterscotch.
They taste like your grandparents' hug, though, right? Doesn't that what it feels like to me? It just reminds me of my grandfather's too. Thanksgiving at your house sounds incredible.
I do a lot of homemade ice cream.
Whoa.
So I like to pair them, the pies. Yeah. And then I started getting fancy with it. I started doing like little miniature pumpkin pies instead of the big one, because I felt like everybody loves pumpkin pie so much, and it's like the staple. Why not make it? So I do these little sort of tiny pies that are
perfect.
So cute. And those are a big hit now. Well, but the banana cream pie is the big hit of the Thanksgiving night.
I mean, why couldn't it be? There's something about banana cream pie that feels like it's light, but it's like it's not light. But it's light. You're like, no, I'm lying to myself.
It's so
and
good.
I'm eating this whole pie right now.
I had one year where I was working basically on and around Thanksgiving. So I had to have someone help me with my pies, right? And it was hilarious because I was on the phone the whole time. I had one of my best girlfriends and another friend, and then her friend, because I do like 3 days of pie making.
Oh my gosh! Make your own crust, everything.
They could not.
The whole thing.
Yeah, they could not figure out how to do the banana cream pie, and I didn't realize how hard banana cream pie is for some people to make. The custard is...
Well, you make the custard and everything.
Yeah.
You go full. Amazing.
Yeah, but now I like with a mean custard.
Oh, I mean, I need pie. I need Peloton and pie. I feel like I'm gonna end this thing. I'm gonna have to.
That's a really funny T-shirt.
Peloton and pie.
That should be Peloton's Thanksgiving
that should be
T-shirt. If you're listening, Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
From Peloton.
Okay, I feel like we should do this. They gave us this 22 questions in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm just going to plow through them, but I'm kind of going to time, but I'm not going to time because I want the actual answers to this, but we're going to do it fast.
Okay.
Who's your greatest inspiration?
Mom.
Who would you like to trade places with if you could?
Nobody.
Great. Who makes you laugh the most?
My brother. Oliver.
And
my mom.
Oh.
And Kurt. And Ryder. We laugh. My family.
There's no shortage of laughter.
Oliver takes the lead on that one.
I love that. Who would you want to play you in a movie? You must get that question.
Any of my girlfriends.
Oh, so good. What's your guilty pleasure?
French fries.
What's the one thing you need to have in your fridge at all times?
So delicious ice cream bars with almond and chocolate and vanilla.
Ugh, this seems like contradictory. What's your favorite ab workout after you've had those bars?
Abs are my least favorite, but roll-ups.
Roll-ups.
Pilates roll-ups.
Oof, those are tough. What's your dream car?
1960, anywhere from like 65 to 70 Bronco.
Amazing. You're also a Broncos fan, am I wrong?
I am a Broncos fan. You are right.
Who was the last person you texted?
My boyfriend.
Oh, what makes you happy?
My boyfriend and my children and people make me happy. Connecting makes me happy.
I love it. What item would you love to get your hands on if it went up for auction? Oh, anything.
Oh gosh,
That's
a
hard.
Francis Bacon, but I can't afford it.
Nice. What is your biggest pet peeve?
I can't stand farting.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And
like-
you've got 2 boys.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and I grew up with 3 brothers.
Oh, forget
So it's
it.
like one of those things where
That's
it's like,
why.
it's just, there's so much farting.
Yeah.
And I get it. It makes me laugh sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's just too much.
I have 2
It's
boys
just
too.
so-
It's too much. It's too much. It's way too much. How do you take your coffee?
Black.
Oh. What's the last album you bought?
Good question. I just bought Pink. I just bought Pink's album, actually. That's funny. That was the last one. I got the whole album.
Nice.
Yeah.
That seems right.
Gotta support your brand.
Of course. What was the last movie you saw in a theater?
The last movie I saw in the theater was Marshall. That's right, Marshall.
One. What color is your toothbrush?
Blue.
Oh,
That's so funny. I like that.
What's the last book you read? You already answered this today, for me.
Sapiens? Yes, but I'm reading right now, almost finished with The Glass Castle.
Oh, nice. What is your middle name?
Gary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Named after?
My uncle, Gary.
Fascinating.
That was Mom's choice.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
What cause is dear to your heart?
Mind Up, my mom's foundation, and the WFP World Food Program.
Amazing. What's the last?
And breast cancer research. I do a lot with the
Oh,
breast-
that's great. What is the last gift you gave, and what's the last gift you received? I don't know. That's tough.
What was the last gift I received? The last gift I received was this is so funny because it wasn't really for me. It was for the kids, but it was a bunch of stuff from the Minions.
Yeah, Minions movie.
Yeah. That was the last gift I actually opened.
Yeah.
And then the last gift I gave was I got my kids some these like rubber band shooters with these spinning targets. That was the last gift
Did they
that I gave. Oh yeah.
It's hours of fun.
Yeah, they're super fun. It's just when they turn the rubber bands on each other was when there's a lot of like, okay, we're putting them down, but yeah, no, it was fun.
That's awesome. Where would you want to go that you've never been? Last question.
Oh, there's so many places. Bhutan.
Oh.
I'd really like to go to Bhutan, and I'd love to go to. I've never been anywhere in Thailand, so I'd love to go to Thailand.
That's nice. We did it. 22
did
questions.
it.
I mean, it definitely wasn't 2 minutes, but I actually was really interested in hearing all your answers in full. I wanted to hear it in like full stereo. I'm going to give you some more books to do. And I'm going to look through some more reader submitted questions. Oh, God, this is a good one, but I'm sure you get it too. It's like, how do you manage your time between staying fit, eating right, and your busy schedule? You must get that question all the time, but I'm actually curious for the answer.
You know, I just kind of everything in my life revolves around my kids. Yeah. So if I can fit it in, great. If I can't, if the kids are happy, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and then I do really try to, you know, take some time to myself. And when kids are in school,
yeah,
you know, that's when if I'm you know, I just make sure I take at least 10 minutes to like do something for myself. If not more. Some days I just lock myself in my bedroom or my office, and I'm just like
pop-up party for one.
Mental pop-up party for one. You know, just like blast music and pretend like I don't hear anybody knocking on the door.
I love that. I'm also going to remind people too that you can get the books that Kate is signing on prettyfunbook.com. She's signing them all, as I mentioned. I'm watching her sign, and she has a beautiful signature. So, I want to hear. Someone had a great question here. What has being a parent taught you?
Patience. Structure. Patience. That's the yeah.
You need it. Kids help with that.
Totally.
Kids help with that one.
It really is. I know it sounds crazy, but I am such an Aries. So when you have kids and you're like, I'm totally impatient.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that like, I just, you know when you're learning a game, and for me, it's like, tell me once, maybe I'll have a question or two, but like, I got it.
Right.
I got it. Let's go. Let's go. You know? And then you're with certain people who are like, well, hold on a second. And you're just like, like as an Aries, if any Aries out there, you're literally like, oh my God, I can't just play the game.
Just get to it.
Let's get it. She said what it was.
Yeah.
You can't do that with children.
Yeah.
You know? And so immediately, obviously, you know, you become way more patient. Just your maternal instinct kicks in. But then as they get older, really learning patience.
Yeah.
Not allowing those moments of frustration to sort of get the best of what's in their best interest.
Yep.
That's been a great lesson. And
structure is interesting to me. I'm curious how you mean. Tell me, like, how your children have taught you structure.
Well, I'm like a weird artist, really. I mean, you know, I have a linear brain, but at the end of the day, like, I just want to be doing creative things. I want to be making music. I want to be performing. I want to be singing. I want to be writing. I want to be just putting like colors together on it. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to do things that are more right brain. And then that doesn't really lend itself to great structure.
Yeah.
And then when someone tries to come in and structure that part of your life in any way, it's like, get out of my right brain. You know? When you have kids, you have to figure out, you have to structure your life. I mean, you just, you know, you're that.
Even though they hate structure, kids generally hate structure. And
but
they need it.
Yeah, I think so, you know, and I'm a real believer in a more like progressive learning, you know, being a more creative, teaching our children from a more creative perspective.
Right.
Because the world is so different from like our antiquated educational system.
Yeah.
And what we're teaching our kids now in the schooling system. But it still needs structure, you know. So there's this funny thing where there's like the super progressive, and then there's this sort of like straight line.
Yeah.
To me, I really do think that there's certain things that kids thrive in structure.
Yeah.
You know, and the more I research it, and the more I just really do think that, you know, for certain things, it's great to have, you know, they create that.
Boundaries, I think. Yes, for sure. I'm going to look at, I think we have time for, what do we got, like 1 or 2 more questions? We got 5 minutes, but we're also out of books. We've been told that if we take a book off of here,
It's going to fall on us.
the whole bookshelf is going to fall down, which I'm like, come on, is that really going to? Well, we talked about Thanksgiving. Someone here asked about Christmas. How will you spend Christmas? I think we could take one. Can we take one? Maybe?
No, it looks so nice.
It looks so
just-
pretty?
Yeah.
Okay, we're out of books. You signed them all. You did it.
I did. I signed all.
What's your dream Christmas when you think
It
about
is our Christmas. You know, we are. It's like a magical, you know, snowy winter wonderland. You know, we grew up in Colorado, so.
So you go
I
back.
mean,
Is that where you spend?
yeah.
Is that where you spend Christmas?
Yeah.
And is it like morning, like huge, like opening gifts and
Yeah.
breakfast and
Yeah, all of it.
and then
all
dinner.
of it. We all wear our PJs, and we do 2 dinners. You know, we do our Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
What do you like to serve for Christmas Eve?
That's all Mom.
Amazing. What does she
Mom
do?
does her thing. Usually there's a roast, ham. She'll do a stew usually for Christmas Eve.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then what's Christmas Day? How do you change it up?
Christmas Day. No, that's
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. No, Christmas Eve is the stew.
Got it,
Christmas
got it.
Day is usually like a roast.
It's the roast. Got it.
Yeah, and then we our traditional, you know, as a Jewish family who celebrates all holidays, which is what we are.
That was mine too. Same exact thing.
We do a big sort of lox spread for you know, lox and pickles and
Whitefish? Do you do the whitefish salad?
for Christmas morning.
Oh,
And then my dad will make, believe it or not, elk heart. We'll do that's a traditional thing every Christmas morning. We'll do some elk heart.
How do you like that?
It's amazing.
Really?
Amazing. Yeah, it's really, really amazing meat.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then dinner. I mean, Christmas at that house sounds absolutely incredible. But
We
also,
have- yeah, and the family is so big now. You know, We've
How
got
many
so many
people?
kids. I mean, there's 5 kids, and then my other cousins come up. So there's seven kids running around, and 11
sounds
of
like
us.
fantasy.
It's
I'm
great.
I want to land on one final amazing question that also brings us back to your awesome book. I don't know what should we do here, because I want like one really, really good one. Okay, I'm gonna make it up.
You're gonna make it up.
I'm gonna make it up because I had a personal question about it, because I told you I spent a lot of time with it. If there's one thing that someone could take from this book, what would you want it to be? What's the one learning moment that you think is like the best thing that someone could take out of this book?
I think the thing that we've talked most about, which is that we need each other. Do you know what I mean? And we need to celebrate each other.
Yeah.
And it's okay to, like, I call it the celebration practice.
Yes.
You know? And
You actually are very careful not to call it partying, though, too. I think that
yeah,
you're very,
well, because sometimes people think like a party is all about like, you know, let's get wasted.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I mean, you know, if you want to go to that kind of party, those aren't my favorite kind. I don't like those parties.
Right.
You know, you know, I mean, maybe once a year I'll like a party like that. That's like, you know, off the hook and, but. I like it to be about connecting. So anything that brings people together, whether it be an awards show or The Bachelor or a game night or a full moon or a family dinner. I have a lot about family dinner, the importance of family dinners. Like that is a party. That is a gathering for you and your children and your partner and, you know, so I think it's the importance that we need each other. I mean, you know, and there's ways to make that fun and sometimes effortless. And then sometimes I think I'll have moments where you say you go down and you're sort of like, oh, and I'll realize I haven't been with my friends for a while. I haven't really like connected with the people that I love the most, or I haven't, you know, spent some time with my parents and my brothers. You know, you realize that sometimes those moments are really because you've been isolating yourself a little bit. You've been working a lot and in the routine a lot, and you just need to like connect. so I hope that they take that, and then I hope in the holidays it sort of inspires them for you and people out there to just enjoy the traditions and start creating traditions for themselves. I started doing that when I was like single and 20. You know, I started them before I had kids, and it's so much fun to start little traditions, and they're meaningful for so many people. And you find that if you don't do them for a while, that there'll be people that come to you and go, oh, we need to do this. It ends up mattering.
Paying it forward. Yeah, it's awesome. I think our time is up. And
this was
so
fun.
Look at this, and you signed all the books. You did your homework.
This was so good.
And we learned so much about you.
Your hair smells amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. What is? I'm actually wearing Carven perfume. That's what it is.
Oh,
I
is
think
that
that's what
it
is?
is?
Yeah, and it's my favorite.
Ooh.
But Kate Hudson likes my perfume. This was enchanting. Get this book. It's fantastic. Prettyfunbook.com. All signed.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful book, and it's really beautifully constructed. I'm excited for you guys to see it. So
I hope you love it.
thank you.
Thanks
for joining us. Bye.